Hey there, if you're gearing up for your JAMB, WAEC, or NECO exams, you know that every single mark counts. Today, we are going to zero in on one section that can seriously boost your score, the comprehension passage, so let's dive right in. Think about it for a second. When you open that English paper, what's the one part that makes a lot of people groan? Yeah, I'm talking about that wall of text followed by a bunch of questions. If you're thinking comprehension passages, trust me, you are not alone. Now, in a typical exam like JAMB, you might see about 5 to 10 of these questions, and you might think, 5 to 10, that's not so bad. But wait, it's not about the number of questions. It's about how much they're worth. And this is where it gets real. Each of those questions can be worth 2, maybe even 3 marks. In an exam where you're fighting for every single point, doing well here isn't just a nice bonus. It can literally be the difference between the score you want and the score you get. So yeah, that's why we are calling this a high-stakes skill. This isn't just about reading a paragraph. It's about critical thinking, and honestly, it's a skill that's going to help you way beyond just passing this one exam. So what exactly is a comprehension passage anyway? Well, it's not just a reading quiz. Think of it more like a puzzle. The exam is testing you to see how quickly you can get the main idea of a topic, dig into the details, and figure out what the writer is really saying between the lines. And listen, this goes for all the big ones, JAMB, WAEC, and NECO. They all want to see if you can get the main point, the gist. Can you infer what's being suggested? And can you figure out a word's meaning just from the clues in the sentence? These skills carry some serious weight, so we've got to nail them. But hey, don't sweat it because there is a system. There's a strategy. So let's open up what I like to call your 3-step toolkit. A simple, repeatable plan you can use for any passage they throw at you. It really all boils down to these 3 things. First, you have to actually understand the passage. Second, you've got to identify the question types. And third, of course, you need to answer accurately based on what you've read. Let's break down that first step, understanding the passage. Okay, you're in the exam hall. The clock is ticking. What do? Here's the secret. Don't just dive in and read every word. No. First, you skim it. Give it a quick 30-second once-over just to get the main idea. A sort of mental map. Then you go back and read it carefully, maybe underlining key names, dates, or strong opinions. This is called active reading, and it will save you so much time later. Alright, so you've got a good handle on the passage. Now, your focus needs to shift. It's time to decode the questions themselves. Because honestly, figuring out what they are really asking you is half the battle. And the good news is, most questions fall into just 4 buckets. Literal questions. These are the easy ones. The answer is right there, written plain as day. Inferential questions are trickier. You've got to read between the lines. Then there's vocabulary, which is all about context. What does this word mean in this specific sentence? And finally, evaluative questions, where you need to figure out the author's vibe. Are they happy, angry, neutral? Knowing the type tells you exactly how to find the answer. Theory is one thing, but practice is where it all clicks. So let's put our toolkit to work and crack a live case. We are going to go through a sample passage and question exactly like you'd see on exam day. Okay, have a look at this. In Nigeria, the education system faces numerous challenges. Progress is slow, leaving many young Nigerians frustrated. As you're reading that, think back to step 1. What's the main idea here? What's the overall feeling? Now, let's see the question they'd ask. And there it is. What is the main idea of the passage? Now, wait. Before you even glance at the options, pause. Remember the strategy. What was the central theme? What was the passage mostly talking about? Let's break it down. It literally starts with the word challenges. Sure, it mentions reforms, but then it hits you with progress too slow. The overall mood here is one of frustration. It's centered on the problems, right? And this is a perfect example of the right answer versus a very common trap. Option C, the education system in Nigeria faces significant challenges, nails the main focus. But look at option A, that's the trap. Yes, improvement is mentioned, but it misses the whole point that the progress is slow and frustrating. The passage is about the challenges, not the successes. See the difference? See? When you break it down like that, the right answer just pops out. It's totally manageable. Alright, let's bring it all home with our final section, your final exam checklist. Okay, here it is, your cheat sheet for exam day. First, time management. Be smart with the clock. Next, eliminate wrong options. If an answer is obviously wrong, cross it out. It just increases your odds. Practice regularly, especially with past questions, no surprises. This next one is huge. Avoid assumptions. If you cannot point to the answer in the text, it's wrong, period. And finally, always check vocabulary in context. A word can have many meanings. You only care about the one used in that sentence. And there you have it. A clear, simple toolkit to turn one of the toughest parts of the English exam into one of your biggest strengths. It's not magic, it's just a strategy. So the only question left is, are you ready to crack the code?